And the University of Chicago takes on North Park University for the 15th time in the all-time series. The Maroons lead the series 8-2 and 4 overall and have won two in a row following 3 straight ties. And welcome into Stagg Field here at the campus of the University of Chicago. Thanks for joining us for University of Chicago Maroons men's soccer right here on the Maroon Sports Network. Eric Willowhite with you here. Sean Jarrett on camera. Dan Obi producing. And tonight's matchup for the Maroons men's soccer team taking on the North Park University Vikings. In a non-conference matchup here, the Vikings coming in with a record of 11-1-1 on the season, 5-0-1 in conference play. And for the Maroons, 13-1, 3-1 in conference play as well. The Maroons coming in third ranked and the Vikings 10th ranked. So this should be, at least on paper, a good battle between these two teams. For the season series, the Maroons lead that by a tally of 8-2-4. And in the last meeting last year, the Maroons won by a score of 3-0. So that brings you up to date here as we get ready for action on men's soccer on the Maroon Sports Network. Thanks for joining us this evening. We are on Stagg Field as we have a night game for our match today. And the Maroons are on the field ready to go. The Vikings just breaking their huddle on their side of the field. The Vikings will be going from left to right. And their dark uniforms are white numerals. Host Maroons in their home white with maroon numbers as we get ready for play to be started here. Nice cool evening in about the mid-60s at game time, and we're underway as the ball is headed out to midfield. The Maroons will look to establish, but the Vikings have other ideas. Now on the near sideline taking the ball. That's Isaiah Holquist. And now dropping it back. Ball knocked out of bounds. That will be Maroons' ball. And taking it for the throw-in will be Josh Schofield. Schofield gets it in along the near side. It's it over to Holquist. Holquist boots it upfield. Trying to feed Lopez, but that ball is headed back. Now taken down by the Maroons. Holquist tried to get there, but the Vikings kick it all the way up to midfield where it'll roll out of bounds, and it'll be a throw-in for Schofield. Schofield chipping it inside, getting it to Albedin. And now on the far side, chip towards the net. Knocked down. And now the Vikings will try and boot it out to midfield. They do. And now they enter Maroons territory along the near sideline. Racing after the ball. Oh, being kicked towards net. Woo, that was a close one there. As trying to track that one down was Eric Lundin. But it just got to Halbonen just in time before Lundin could make a play on it. As we have no score here. 43-20 left in the first half, just underway here at Stagg Field. And now the Vikings kick the ball up to center midfield. They're going to take it along the near sideline, trying to get it in deep, but that ball is stolen away, and now the Maroons will take it the other way. Maroons battling. Ball stolen from Holquist. Now taken back by the Maroons, taken back by the Vikings. Now the Maroons will take it from there. Player knocked down. Vikings have possession still inside the Maroon zone. Battling. Good battle going on there. That's Kazona. And now the Maroons are coming the other way. Inside the zone. Spinning around, feeding it to Lopez. Ball knocked down. And now the Vikings get there and will kick it out of bounds to get it out of danger. Now ball thrown in along the far side. The Maroons will look to track that down. Chipping it to the far corner. Vikings are going to get there first, however. And they're going to try and boot it up to midfield. Header missed. Now the Vikings go the other way, crossing midfield, chipping it towards the far side, and coming up with a head of steam. That is Chase Leonard's, but he has the ball taken away. Maroons send it back all the way down, and this time goalkeeper Matthias Stulin will take the ball. Stulin, 6-foot sophomore out of Skien, Norway. Lots of international flavor on North Park's team. The ball's chipped, headed in by Lopez. That's going to go all the way down. Vikings will take it, and they'll push it out over the far sideline. So this will be a throw-in for the Maroons. They get it in. Now trying to feed it inside. Denied. And the Vikings will take the ball the other way. Ball at midfield. Taken back by the Maroons. Now Lopez has it. Lopez pushing it towards the far side. Trying to feed it inside there to Ryman. Now the Vikings are inside the Maroon zone, but that ball knocked away. Maroons try and boot it out to midfield. Temporarily knocked down. Ball pressured. Now coming up with the ball and moving it forward is Capitosto. Gets it over to the far sideline. Vikings take possession, still inside their zone. However, they're going to drop it back to Stulin, the goalkeeper for the Vikings, and then get it up along the near sideline. And Jason Gonzalez will boot it back to Stulin. Stulin's going to give it a go, and he gets it inside Maroons territory. Picking up the ball there was Lundeen. Lundeen pushes it over to the far sideline. And now the Vikings will look to set up. It's their first attempt at some established possession time inside the Maroon zone. But now that has quickly been broken up. Most of the play has been between the attack zones. Not much happening in either attack zone at this point. Closest thing we had was the ball intended for Bonin that Lundeen had a beat on, but Bonin was able to get there first. That was an intended pass back to the goalkeeper that could have been trouble, but Bonin was able to get there ahead of time. All right, now the Vikings will have the throw in near the 35-yard line. They're going to throw it in on the far side. 38 minutes remaining in the first half, and we are still scoreless. Thanks for joining us again on the Maroon Sports Network. In this soccer battle this evening between two programs having very successful seasons to date. And now we have a Vikings player on the ground along the far side as he got injured on that last possession there. Let's see if he's able to get to his feet. Right now sitting up. I'm able to see a number at this point. And we'll see if he's able to get to his feet. Now he does. And let's see here. Now we're going to get the restart from the Vikings. Kick on its way. Chip towards the net. And headed out of there by Lopez, I believe. Was able to get it in there and get that out of the box. Now the Maroons look to go the other way. Got a 2-on-1 currently. See if they can get there. Chipped it inside the zone. Ball taken away. Holtquist. Now the Maroons get it back. Schofield Chipping it down along the near sideline, picking up the ball is Abadian. Abadian chipping it back to Holquist. Now Holquist again has it. Good spin move to avoid a defender, but then the ball is taken away. Chip back into the zone, however, by Capitosto. But then that's taken by goalkeeper Sudulin. Oh, and he gives it a heavy boot deep inside Maroons territory. But able to knock that ball down was Sam Droblos. Now the Vikings take possession back towards the center stripe. Trying to feed it into Lundeen. He loses the ball, or he misplayed it there. And now Schofield will boot it up along the near sideline, taken back by the Vikings. Vikings chipping it down low, trying to get it into Lundeen. Ball is going to roll towards goalkeeper Bonin, however, and he's going to... He was initially looking for an outlet to Droblos, but now he's going to feed it over to Schofield along the near side. Schofield spin move, drops it back. Droblos chipping it ahead. Back to Schofield. Schofield trying to reach Lopez. That ball taken back by the Vikings, however, knocked out of bounds, and we're going to have a throw-in for Schofield. Schofield with the throw-in by midfield. He's able to get it in to Holquist. And now the ball going over to the far side. That's going to be taken back by the Vikings. Now they're going to chip it up to the near side, and making a play on that will be Jason Gonzalez. Gonzalez is going to have the throw-in, gets it up to midfield, trying to reach Lundeen. Lundeen battling. Nice move by Droblos, but taken back, however, by the Vikings. And now the Vikings go the other way. Moving the ball inside the play is Kazona. Kazona has the ball knocked away. Now it's chipped, getting towards midfield. Taken back, we're going to have a foul on the Maroons. And a restart by the Vikings. No score, 34-35 to play here in the first half. You are watching men's soccer, Maroons men's soccer on the University of Chicago Maroons Sports Network. Thanks for joining us this evening. Oh, Gonzalez has it. Jason Gonzalez is going to boot it ahead, trying to get it into Kazona. Now taken back at midfield by the Maroons, and the Maroons will look to go on the attack. Coming into the zone is Andre Abadian. Has the ball stolen away, and the Vikings will look to transition here. Dropping it back to the defense, and now moving forward and getting it out to midfield are the Vikings, but they have the ball stolen away by the Maroons, Stacy Ryman. And now the ball chipped into the zone. Lopez still has it. Now it's taken away by the Vikings. Vikings look to transition. Battle on the far sideline, chip back in by the Maroons. Vikings knock it down. And again, as we talked about, a lot of play in between the attack zones right now. Not much happening inside the zones, as both teams are putting on pretty good defense in terms of preventing any action on the goalkeepers. And that's what we've seen so far. Violation now against the Maroons. Didn't get the call there, but Lopez did not agree with it. And now the Vikings will restart. Kick on its way. Gets up to midfield, headed back into the zone by Abadian. And now Vikings take it back, and they're going to march inside Maroons territory. Able to set up here, but the ball knocked away by Ryman. Now Lopez will drop it back. Abadian. Crossing pass. Getting it over to the near sideline now. Droblos chipping it ahead to Holquist. Holquist to Schofield. Schofield to Droblos. Schofield. And now punching it ahead to Capitosto. Up to Ryman. Ryman booting it ahead. Tried to feed it inside along the far side, but that ball was knocked away by the Vikings. Rolls out of bounds. This is going to be Maroons throw-in. And they get it up over midfield. Now crossing. Chipping it back along the near side was Schofield. Trying to feed Holquist. Ball taken away. Here come the Vikings. And Droblos able to get there before anything can take place from that potential rush for the Vikings. And we got a foul against the Vikings. So the Maroons will have a throw in here along the near sideline. Taking the throw in will be Capitosto. Check that. This will be a kick. So free kick, Capitosto. And we'll see where he's going to go with this. Angling towards the box. It's headed out of danger by the Vikings, and then they'll take possession along the far sideline. They'll drop it back, and then boot it up to midfield, looking for a quick change of possession. But Schofield gets there first, and he boots it back inside Vikings territory. Now it's going to roll to the far corner. Vikings will let that one roll over the goal line. And Matthias Stulin will take the ball for the Vikings. And goalkeeper's kick. Last time he booted it deep into Maroons territory. Let's see if he does the same here. Gets a good run up on it. Line drive, that's going to cross midfield. Gets headed deeper into Maroons territory. But then it rolls out bounds towards the sideline. Foul against the Maroons. And Vikings will restart play along the far side. Now chipping it towards the box. Trying to head it out of there was Schofield. Unable to get it, but then Holquist was there. And then he'll boot it out of bounds. This will be a throw-in for the Vikings. And number 19, Leonards. Leonards gets it inside. Rolling towards the attack zone. Battle ensues. Maroons able to get the ball out of the zone. And now they'll look to transition the other way. Getting it over to Lopez. Lopez crosses midfield. He has a head of steam. Man tracking him down from behind, however. Not before Lopez could get the pass off over to the far side. Now the ball is stolen away. Here come the Vikings. Good defense by the Vikings to prevent an offensive chance as Leonards takes it along the near sideline for the Vikings. All the way to the far sideline as a two-player battle ensues. Vikings still in possession. And now they'll drop it back to goalkeeper Stulin with 28:33 to play here in the first half. No score. Midfield, ball escaped the Vikings, so we'll have a throw-in on the far side for the Maroons. As they tried to head it deeper into Vikings territory, but the Vikings were able to intercept. Now they'll look to go the other way, getting it up along the near sideline to Leonards. Leonards dropping it back down to Jason Gonzalez. And now Droblos is going to take that ball and get it up to Lopez. Lopez pass attempt taken away by Leonards right at the center circle. Now the Vikings will look to set up once more. Over to Gonzalez along the near side. And he's going to chip it back. Gonzalez out to Leonards. Feeding it now into Eriksson. That's Gustav Eriksson. Tried to get it towards the far side. Pass misplayed or unable to make a connection with Kazona. And now Hal Bonin will take it for the Maroons. And let's see if he's going to do the drop kick here. It certainly looks that way. Here it goes. Drop kick in the air is crossing midfield, about 35-yard line inside Vikings territory. Vikings going back to take possession, however, and that's Kyle Robson. And now ball coming to Gonzalez. He's going to have to hurry as the Maroons were ready to pounce on it. Schofield tried to chip it in, and Gonzalez chipped it further ahead. Kazona has it, midfield circle. Taken away by Drablos. Check that. That was Nate Johnson stealing the ball away at midfield. Now the Maroons player shaken up along the far side. Play continues. Two-player battle ensues. And now the Vikings look to go the other way. They do. Kazona has it. Chipping it further ahead. Now all the way over to Leonards. Leonards has it along the near sideline. Getting deeper towards the corner. He's going to roll it back to Gonzalez. Gonzalez feeding it inside. Kick on its way. Deflected onto the hands of Bonin. And he'll play it. So first set offensive generation there for the Vikings as they were able to establish some possession time and get a shot towards the net. Bonin was easily able to scoop that one up, and he kicks it out into Vikings territory. The Vikings will track it down and look to get it outside of their zone. Maroons keep pushing it deeper, and the ball is going to roll towards the far corner. Ball still inside the Viking zone. Now the Maroons looking to advance. Pass went awry, and now it goes up to midfield, knocked down by Schofield. Schofield will chip it ahead. Gets it inside to Lopez. Now on to the far side. Nate Johnson chipping it inside to Lopez. Nice pass. Little give and go there. Inside the zone, rolling it. And just out of the reach of Lopez, as that pass was behind him. However, the Maroons continue to pressure. There's Holquist trying to feed it inside. Vikings knock it down. Maroons knock it back in. On the far side. And taking the ball there is Abedian. Now it's going to roll all the way over to Schofield along the near side. Spinning around, getting closer towards the near side, feeding it Schofield. Holquist, I should say. And now taking the ball and moving it deeper inside the zone. Nate Johnson. Johnson will push it ahead. Now spinning around, it's going to roll out of bounds unless he gets there first. He does, able to stop it nicely was Holquist. Good effort by Holquist there. Now Abedian, spin move. Dropping it back to Schofield. Schofield chip. And Lopez not able to get there on time. Ball booted out of bounds by the Vikings. We have a foul against the Maroons. And now taking the ball will be Stulin. Matthias Stulin. Goalkeeper. Taking the goal kick right now for his Vikings. And he gets a deep kick crossing midfield, headed back into the zone of the Vikings. And then spinning the ball around, looking to bring it in is Matthew Coe. Gets it to Schofield. Schofield chips it along the near side. And it rolls out of bounds. And now Gonzalez for the Vikings will throw it in. Jason Gonzalez. Header was intercepted by Sammy Drablos. So he was able to intercept that ball. Now the Maroons take possession. Schofield near side. Chipping it further into the zone. That's going to be flagged down by the Vikings. They're trying to elude Lopez. Now the ball up to midfield. Vikings misplay there. Here come the Maroons the other way. Getting it inside the attack zone. Vikings will let it roll over the goal line and out of bounds. And Stacy Ryman was trying to push that ball up ahead for the Maroons. Stuhlen with the goalkeeper's kick. 21:55 to play, first half, no score. North Park University Vikings and the University of Chicago Maroons. Again, the Vikings coming in 11-1-1 on the season. And the Maroons 13-1. Maroons winners of 2 in a row. And obviously 12 of their last 13 to start the season. Kazona has it, chipping it ahead to Leonards. Leonards coming in. Spin move, gets cuts deeper inside the box. Then ball's temporarily taken away. Vikings take it back. Now Jason Gonzalez chipping it towards the box. Maroons boot it out and get it over to the far side. Maroons will look to transition. However, what do we got here? It's like we are getting conversation between the two players here. Can't tell if that was a yellow card. I didn't believe so. He didn't hold it up long. So just giving him a warning there. Bonin will take the kick here with 21:06 to play in the first half. And it looks like he's going to angle towards the far side. He does. And here come the Maroons. Maroons inside the Viking zone, looking to set up. Punching it deeper inside the zone. And looking to attack there is Schofield. Or check that, that was Holquist. Now Schofield. Schofield chip it towards the box, headed out of the way by the Vikings before that could get on to goalkeeper Stuhlen. And so we're going to have our first corner kick of the day. And it'll go the Maroons' way. Taking the corner kick. I believe that's Capitosto with the corner kick. Yeah, kick's on its way. Angling towards the goal. Punched out of there by Stuhlen. And then drop back. Nate Johnson will have it, though. He'll chip it back towards the attack box. Trying to make a spin move there, but that was deflected by Gonzalez. And keeping it in play nicely is Matthew Coe. Now Kazona has it for the Vikings. Going to go over midfield, feeding it over to check that, Lundin. Lundin rolls it towards the net. Bonin will kick it out of danger. That's headed out of the way by Abedian. Then Lopez. Lopez's kick will roll to goalkeeper Struhlen for the Vikings. He'll take possession. And now at midfield, Vikings take possession. Gonzalez once more. On the near side, trying to feed it deeper inside the zone. It's going to be taken away by the Maroons, however. Schofield's spin move gets booted out of play. By Chase Leonards. So we're going to have the throw in by Schofield and the Maroons. Trying to get it into Lopez. The Vikings knock the ball down. Now they'll look to reestablish. Ball's going to roll over to Schofield. Schofield near side. There's a man on him. Gets it up to Holquist. Holquist's kick was taken away by Gonzalez. Ball rolls out of bounds. It's going to be Vikings ball. And we're going to have our first substitution of the game. Coming in is number 20 for the Vikings. That is Kamkers. And checking out is number 31, Roseholt. Headed by Droblos along the near sideline. And now we're going to have Throw in Maroons, headed up along the near sideline. Chip back inside the zone, trying to reach Kazona. Well, that ball was booted closer towards midfield. Maroons look to go the other way. Holquist. Now the ball rolls on Bonin. Bonin's going to take it. He's being pressured. He's going to boot it out of danger. Gets it up to midfield and knocked back down by the Vikings. Vikings will look to set up shop again. Here they come. On the far side, trying to cut it inside deeper. Shot along the way, but that's going to sail way wide right or left if you're goalkeeper Bonin. And now you're going to have the goal kick. With 16:45 to play, no score here in the first half. Thanks for joining us once more. Stagg Field for University of Chicago Maroons men's soccer. You're starting to see a little more action in the attack zone. I would say the first, the first 20 minutes or so of the game was predominantly action between the attack zones. Now spin move. Here come the Vikings. They have it along the near sideline. Trying to push it deeper inside the zone. In the box, taken away. And it's pushed out towards midfield. Now along the near sidelines, Holquist. Holquist will drop it back. Spin move. Getting out of danger there was Matthew Coe. Coe will feed it over to the far side. Ryman chipping it ahead. Vikings will look to go the other way, roll it towards the far sideline, taking it over midfield and dropping it down deeper into the zone. Here come the Vikings. Ball knocked out of bounds. This will be throw in for the Maroons, and the Maroons will take it. Now Vikings along the far side. Dropping it back inside their own zone. They're going to get it over to Jason Gonzalez, closer towards the near side. And he's going to push it ahead. Getting that ball inside to Marion Alvaro, who came in as a substitution as well. He checked in for Chase Leonards. Vikings trying to get set up and get deeper into the attack area. They're going to push the ball on the far side and then look for an opening inside. But immediately that ball is booted towards midfield. Vikings look to keep it in. They do. Vikings now looking to set up. They'll push it to Gonzalez along the near sideline. He's going to move forward, looking like take a shot. And that shot is booted well wide as well. So Gonzalez, he hesitated a couple times there, and then he eventually decided to give it the boot. And that went well wide. Bonin will take the ball. And we're going to have a couple substitutions now for the Maroons. Checking in for the Maroons will be Gary Zhao, as well as Tommy Tenuta. And checking out for the Maroons will be Coe, Matthew Coe checking out. In addition, Renato Corgi. A ball in the air headed towards the center stripe. Vikings will drop the ball back inside their zone and look to regroup. Jason Gonzalez will take it along the near sideline. He'll push it further back inside his own zone. And you got the ball over to Ricky Pimentel. Now it's fed inside the Maroon zone, where they'll look to go on the attack along the far sideline, dropping it back down. Crossfield pass going over to Gonzalez along the near sideline. He'll push it ahead and cross midfield. Now drop it deeper. Trying to feed that ball into Marion Alvaro. Alvaro going for it towards the goal line. Ball is kept in. Alvaro's pass attempt. His crossing attempt was headed out of there, I believe, by Ryman. Nice play there to get that ball out of danger. And we're going to have our first corner kick now for the Vikings. And they set it right back into motion. Angling towards the box, punched out of there by Bonin. Nice play. Maroons will look to go on the attack, see if they can transition here. Intercepted by the Vikings and pushed back inside the Maroon zone. Gonzalez chipping it ahead. Headed out by Schofield. And the Maroons again going on transition, getting it over to the far side. Now, ball taken by the Maroons, push from behind, but it'll continue on. Dropping it back. And getting it over to Schofield. Schofield on the near sideline, battling two defenders, gets through. Nice job by Schofield to get between two defenders there. But the Maroons or Vikings take it back the other way. Alvaro on the near side. Spin move. Into the attack box, pushing it ahead. Tip shot, and it went just wide. What a pass by Alvaro. Trying to feed it inside. Alvaro with a nice spin, stop, and pass attempt. And tried to get that inside, and the chip shot just went wide. Good play, however, for the Vikings. As that was Henrik Roseholt with the play there. Check that now, as 34. That was Shatil Corey. Shatil Corey had the chip shot there, but that went wide. And now looks like we're going to have a substitution coming in. For the Maroons, as Scott Lick will come in. I believe Ryman checked out. No, that was Schofield. Ball on the near side. And it's going to roll out of bounds. It'll be a throw in here for Nate Johnson and the Maroons. Gonzalez heads it down. Battle ensues. Lopez. And now Matthias Warp will leave the ball for Gonzalez for the throw in along the near sideline. 10:36 to play first half. Still no score as Drablos heads Gonzalez's attempt back out of bounds. And now Gonzalez will have the throw in once more. And this time Drablos gets in there again to head the throw in attempt by Gonzalez away. Pushing it over to Nate Johnson. Lopez push from behind. And now we'll restart. Whistle. As Nate Johnson will take it and restart to Drablos. Drablos over the far side now. Ryman over to Lick. Lick pushing it upfield on the far sideline now. And man down. And we're going to get a yellow card here against Scott Lick, getting the yellow card. Now the Vikings player back on his feet. And we'll have the restart for the Vikings. .9:45 remaining in the first half. Vikings will boot it along the far side. And that's headed out of bounds by the Maroons. Actually, by the Vikings, so that'll be a Maroons throw in now. And coming into the game now for the Maroons is Bryce Millington. So Millington entering the game. And Lopez will have a seat, probably for the rest of the first half. Nate Johnson, header, and then he's knocked down. Be a foul against the Vikings. Bonin will take it. Let's see if the Maroons can get something going here in the late stages of the first half. They've been quiet offensively here for the last several minutes. Let's see if they can get something generated. Most of the recent play has been pushed by the Vikings, although, again, nothing as far as grade A chances, but they have been, well, I would take that chip shot away. The chip shot that took place by Corey, that was probably the best attempt from either team so far. BDN feeds it up to Nate Johnson. And Johnson will take it at midfield to restart. And now Drablos along the near side, getting ready to restart with the kick. Strong kick towards the box. Chipped out of there by the Vikings, and they'll look to transition the other way. They do. Corey. And then along the near side, but rolls out of bounds. Throw in for the Maroons. And Nate Johnson. Johnson looking for an outlet. And his pass attempt sailed over the head. He was trying to feed inside to Bryce Millington, but that went out of Millington's range. Vikings are trying to escape their own zone. They'll drop it back to goaltender Stulen. Stulen pushes it towards midfield. Maroons look to keep it in, but unable to. And we got a foul against the Vikings. Maroons will look to restart now at midfield. 7 minutes to play. First half in. No score. Kick on the way. Good kick. That's going to go into the box. And it's headed wide right of goalkeeper Stulen. Maroons look to punch it back inside the zone, though. Capitosto. And now we got a foul against the Maroons and Millington, I believe. Now Millington trying to plead his case, but that's falling on deaf ears there with the judge jury. Vikings will take it now and kick it to restart. 6:16 remaining. Over midfield. Headed back by Johnson. Now the Maroons trying to go the other way. Holtquist. Taken away by the Vikings. Vikings pushing it ahead to Alvaro. Alvaro along the goal line. He'll stop it. He'll dance along the goal line there. A couple defenders on him. Now he'll take it back out. Push it ahead. Chip shot towards goal. That's headed out of danger by the Maroons. Now Gonzalez will try and flag it down for his Vikings. And he gets it at midfield. Knocked ahead by Holtquist. And then the ball rolls out of bounds. It's going to be Vikings ball. Along the near side, Jason Gonzalez will have the throw in. Ever since Alvaro has entered the game, he's opened up things offensively for the Vikings, so he's someone to keep an eye on as he has good ball skills. And he's gotten down on the goal line a couple times to create some havoc for the Maroons. Ball all the way over on the far sideline, picking it up and playing it as Tenuta. Taken back by the Vikings. And this will be Vikings ball on the far sideline. Restart for the Vikings with 4:38 to play here in the first half. Again, no score. And ball chip. Trying to feed it into Kozuna. He takes it. Now back over to the far side. Vikings will have the throw in. As they look to get set up here. Always got to watch out for these late half minutes, and you can't fall asleep. Well, you can't fall asleep at any time during the game, but you definitely don't want to relax thinking, all right, you're going to go into halftime scoreless. You're going to have to keep pressing on defensively here, and that's exactly what the Maroons are doing as they look to get that ball outside of the zone and keep the pressure away from the attack zone and their goalkeeper Bonin. Maroons now looking to set up along the far sideline, being pressured. Vikings take the ball back. Here they go. Shot on net, and that sails wide. A good shot attempt there. That sails wide left to Bonin. And now we'll have the goal kick for the Maroons. That all taken place by the turnover by the Maroons as the Vikings continued to pressure inside the Maroon zone. Were able to generate that shot attempt. Went wide, but still an attempt nonetheless for the Vikings. Bonin's kick goes over midfield, gets headed back inside Maroons territory, where the Maroons will try and take it on. Tenuta chasing the ball down along the far side. Maroons get the ball back. Tenuta has it, spinning around. Now it's knocked back out to midfield. The Vikings take possession. 2:36 remaining, first half. Vikings player knocked down. We're going to have a whistle here. And now we'll have the play restart for the Maroons. 2:13 to play. We're going to have free kick coming up here for the Maroons as the wall sets up just outside the attack box. And now Maroons getting set for the kick. Waiting for the whistle. Whistle sounds, kick on its way. Chipping it towards the box. Headed out of bounds, out of danger by Gonzalez as he headed it over the back line. So we should have a corner kick now for the Maroons. And we do. Corner kick Maroons with 1:23 to play here in the first half. So a couple opportunities back-to-back here for the Maroons to get a late first half goal. They gladly take that, head into the locker room up 1-0 if they're able to convert. Headed on net. Unfortunately, whistled down, and ball will go back to the Vikings here with just under a minute to play as Strulin will take it. Matthias Strulin, goalkeeper for the Vikings. And then Stulin's kick is going to cross up to midfield, taken down by the Maroons. Holquist has it, chipping it ahead to Millington. Ball stolen away, however. Alvaro to Gonzalez. Gonzalez chipping it ahead. Nate Johnson battling along the near sideline. Alvaro gets in there along with Corey. Corey has it for the Vikings. Now taken away by the Maroons, knocked down from behind. And that's going to be Maroons' ball as time is going to expire here in the first half.
4, 3, 2.
As they'll let the clock run down. And your halftime score, no score, between North Park University Vikings and the University of Chicago Maroons here on men's soccer on the Maroon Sports Network. A couple good opportunities for each team, but nothing to show for in the big board. So we will go into the first half scoreless. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll have second half action right here on the Maroon Sports Network. Halftime score, the North Park University Vikings 0 and the University of Chicago Maroons 0. And welcome back to Stagg Field here at the campus of the University of Chicago. We're getting ready for second half action between North Park University Vikings and the University of Chicago Maroons men's soccer team. It is scoreless after one half of play. Shots on goal, or shots, I should say, during the first half. Shots 5 for North Park. 1 for the Maroons. That's not very good. 1 shot on goal for the Vikings is your tally there. And obviously 1 save for Bonin and the Maroons. 2 corners for the Maroons and 1 corner for the Vikings. A total of 8 fouls apiece. And we did have 1 yellow card against the Maroons. As we get ready for second half action, both teams back on the field now. As we get ready to restart things here. The Vikings will be going from right to left this half, and then the Maroons obviously going left to right. Maroons in their home white, maroon numbering. The Vikings in black with white numbering. And Coe will chip the ball ahead along the near sideline, feed it inside to Lopez. Headed out of danger there at the last moment. That was a good play. They almost had an opportunity there, and now the ball is tracked down along the far sideline. Drablos will kick it towards midfield, taken back by the Vikings, and Vikings will look to push ahead. Drablos pushes it back towards the far side again. And now we're at midfield. And that ball is going to roll down the far side, being tracked down by the Vikings. And Stulen will boot it up over midfield into Maroons territory. Well, it'll roll along the far side and go out of bounds. And this will be a throw-in for the Vikings. Again, no score through one half of play. So we get ready for action here in the second half. Ball headed over to the far sideline. Vikings maintain possession. Maroons look to clear the zone. Not out at this time, however. Feeding it over to the far side, near side. Chip shot in and scored! And an early first half goal here for the Vikings, as putting that ball into the back of the net is Matthias Warp. Warp gets the early goal here in the second half for the Vikings. And the Vikings will now jump out to a 1-0 lead. That play was set up along the near corner. The ball chipped inside the zone into the attack box. And Warp was able to get there and get a shot past Bonin for the 1-0 lead for the Vikings, with 43:39 to play in the second half. And now let's see, we're going to have a substitution here. And coming into the game now and coming out, Drablos is coming out, and coming in his place will be Sam Borovic. All right, play has restarted as we're at midfield. The Maroons now trailing by a score 1-0 here in the second half. Coe chipping it ahead. Getting it inside along to the far corner. That's going to be tracked down by Gonzalez. Ball rolls out of bounds as Gonzalez was able to put enough of a screen on there. Now Stulen will have the goal kick for the Vikings. Matthias Stulen boots it to midfield. That's headed into Maroons territory. Vikings knock it down and press on. Now ball stolen from behind. Maroons take it. Now they'll go up and look to transition. At midfield, Lopez battling it along the near sideline, drops it back. Gets the ball over to Scott Lick. And player knocked down. Now Matthew Coe will restart for the Maroons at midfield. Crossing it over to the far side. Pushed inside the zone. Abedian. Abedian has it. Push from behind. Still maintains possession. Now he'll spin and drop it along the far side. And ball knocked out of bounds. Throw in for the Maroons. They'll try and get it in quickly. It'll roll to the Vikings defense. Will push it out of bounds over midfield. This will be a throw in for the Maroons once again. And ball inside on the far sideline. Knocked out of bounds again. Another throw in for the Maroons forthcoming. We have a quick whistle here, however, as we have to restart the position or restart the throw-in. 41-22 to play, second half, 1-0 in favor of the Vikings on the strength of that early second half goal from Mabias Warp. A ball pushed out of bounds along the near sideline. That's going to be throw in for the Maroons and Scott Leak. Battling. Knocked down was Coe from behind. He gets fouled. Foul call on the Vikings, and Coe will restart for the Maroons. Maroons looking to get something generated here, and let's see if it can come off the strength of this free kick by Coe. Coe circling inside the box, rolling, and it goes wide. Fanning on the clearing attempt, however, were the Vikings, so they're going to have to continue to play it. And they knock it out of bounds, so we're going to have a throw in along the near side, near corner. Throw in commenced, headed upfield. And player down for the Vikings as he went for the header there, and a couple heads collided. Number 4, that was Kyle Robeson for the Vikings, who took the brunt of that header there. I believe that was with Lopez. So now Robeson will come to the sideline here and be evaluated. Actually, both players being evaluated right now, as the clock has stopped with 40:05 to play in the second half. Always dangerous when two players are going up for the header, and obviously the heads collided there. So Robeson is on the sidelines, and Lopez is as well. Now we're waiting for direction here from the officials. All right. Both teams will play on. Both players still on the field as Ryman will kick the ball out to midfield. Headed back, Lopez. Lopez tries to chip it ahead to Coe. Another header. Now running in the box. Lopez trying to get there first. A couple players fall down. And they're going to call that foul, I believe, on Lopez. Push from behind there. So this will be Vikings ball. And reestablishing now is Robeson and the Vikings. They'll leave it for Stulin. We'll take the goalkeeper's kick here. Players set up along the near sideline. And that's exactly where he pushes the ball, trying to feed it into Kazona. Headed down by the Vikings, pushed ahead by the Maroons. Robeson will chip it out of bounds in front of the Vikings bench. That'll be replayed now for the Maroons. And going into the corner is Coe. Spin move. Had the ball knocked away, however, by Robeson. Robeson keeps it into the corner. Nicely done. Now getting it over to Capitosto, who heads it inside the Vikings zone. Vikings take possession, however, along the far side. They're going to push it ahead. Get it up along the far side. Rolls out of bounds. Throw in for the Maroons. And finally the ball gets inside. Now it's booted up. And Kazona will take it for the Vikings. He'll push it ahead. Kazona inside the zone. Ball knocked away at the last minute there, but Vikings maintain possession. Now cutting inside the box, chip shot ahead, booted out of danger by the Maroons. Headed down, here come the Maroons. Along the near side, Lopez has it. Crossing, and all the way over, trying to get it over, I believe, to Corgi, but it just a little too much on it, or thoughts that there was going to be another player along the far side, but one was not there. And now the throw-in coming from Gonzalez and the Vikings. That's knocked out of bounds. It'll be Maroons' ball near midfield. And knocked down along the far sidelines. Players battle. Let's see, this time the ball will go to the Maroons. Another throw-in, this time nearing the 30-yard line. Ball pushed up along the far sideline. Vikings still battling, trying to get it inside Maroon zone. They do. Now they'll feed it ahead, getting it inside to Gustav Eriksson. Maroons look to go the other way. Eriksson's going to try and flag it down. Coe over to Lopez. Lopez along the near side. And ball rolled out of bounds. It will be ball for the Vikings on the throw-in to Robson. 1-0 in favor of North Park with 36-35 to play in the second half. The Maroons looking to get some offense established now as Coe will try and feed it in. That's booted upfield by the Vikings and Ricky Pimentel. Here comes Kazona. Oh, what a stop by Bonin. Rebound is loose. Bonin with a heck of a stop there and shot over the net. And that hit the crossbar, I believe the football crossbar, as Bonin was able to make that save on Kazona, who came inside the box and got off a good shot attempt there. And Bonin was able to punch that out of danger. Now he is on the ground. I think just trying to knock the wind out of him a little bit, apparently. He seems to be okay, but big save there to keep this a one-goal game for the Maroons, trailing by 1. So remember that save here at this point. Let's see if the Maroons can do something with it, but Vikings have definitely been pushing the offense here, both in the latter stages of the first half as well as early on here in the second half. So the Maroons definitely need to respond at this point. Let's see what they're able to do. Ball chipped ahead. Robeson will head it towards midfield, knocked back down by the Maroons. They'll look to reestablish Coe. Coe loses the ball and taken back by the Vikings as they look to push it ahead, knocked down by the Maroons at midfield. Feeding it to Lopez. Lopez now crossing, trying to get it towards the far corner. Offsides is the call, and the Vikings will take the ball. And Matthias Stuhlen will take the kick. Check that. It's going to be restarted by the Vikings and headed upfield. Kazona has it. Pushes it to center. Now along the far sideline, looking to get a break there. And Scott Lick will push him man over to the far corner. Ball rolls out of bounds. It's going to be Maroons throw in. And they're able to do it. Ball thrown in along the far side. Chipped up along the far sideline. Play resumes there. Now trying to get it up to midfield. Maroons looking for an outlet. Scott Lick pushing it ahead for the Maroons. Slide by Gonzalez. Check that, Robeson. Now pushed ahead to Kazona. And spinning around Pimentel. Maroons trying to chip it up at least to midfield. And Ryman pushes that ahead for the Maroons. Maroons just not able to get much on the inside. Everything has been pushed out to the perimeter, so eventually you're going to have to solve getting the ball inside somehow. Everything has been pushed to the perimeter, and that's how they've been trying to set up their offense, not without much success here, however. Now the Maroons will restart along the far side. 33-37 remaining in the second half. And the University of Chicago Maroons trailing by one. Ball chipped in towards the box. Lopez is in there. Flips it back and having to make a save. Stuhlen, it wasn't going to go in the net, but still able to put the ball into the goalkeeper's hands. Nice job by Lopez there to make something out of nothing. Now the ball's going to be headed back. Cazona's there. Dangerous. And now, making a nice spin move there. Getting out of the way. That was Corey. Shot towards the net. Header! That goes wide. All the chances now are coming the Vikings' way as that header went wide of goaltender Bonin to his right. And now he'll restart with the goal kick. But the Maroons are definitely going to have to tighten up defensively as they are letting up some grade A opportunities here for the Vikings here in the second half. Man knocked down, and we're going to have a foul call. Now we're going to have the restart for the Vikings. And restarting on the kick will be Ricky Pimentel. Pimentel with the kick. We have another substitution coming up for the Maroons. As getting ready to come into the game will be Gary Zhao. Lopez feeding it over to Corgi. Back to Lopez, to Corgi, pitching it ahead to on the far sideline, trying to track it down Scott Leak. Ball knocked out of the play by Pimentel. Now it hugs the near sidelines. And the Vikings and Maroons battle at midfield. Maroons come out with it. Pushing it ahead. Lopez, far side. Crossing attempt over the head of Gonzalez. Maroons get there, try and chip it into the box, but it's headed out of danger by Pimentel. Maroons take possession again. Over to Coe, Matthew Coe. He's going to take it to the near side, drop it to Lick. Lick has it along the near side, punching it into the box, headed out of there by Robeson. Maroons punch it back inside, deeper the zone. Gonzalez will push it ahead into Maroons territory. Now Scott Lick will take it along the near sideline, being pressured. He has to release it. He does. Gets the ball back. Tries to get it to midfield, and that's stolen away by the Vikings, but the Maroons press on. Ball knocked out of bounds. We're going to have a throw in now for the Maroons as Coe will take the throw in. And checking in is Gary Zhao. And checking out will be Renato Corgi. Scott Lick will take the throw in front of the Maroons bench. Gets it into Lopez. Lopez's pass attempts taken away by the Vikings. Now the Vikings get the ball up to midfield, not back into Lopez. Check that to Coe. Feeding Lopez. Lopez stops the ball, trying to leave it for Coe. Robeson knocks it along the far sideline. Robeson been very solid on the defensive end for the Vikings, preventing a lot of opportunities for the Maroons, getting in the way of passes, clearing, just doing a solid job on the defensive end and gumming things up for the Maroons. So they're going to have to solve Mr. Robeson there here if they want to get on the board. Now ball on the near side inside the Maroon zone. We're going to have a throw in for the Maroons. It'll be restarted. far sideline. Midfield, Gonzalez knocks it back inside the Maroon zone, but the ball rolls out of bounds. This will be a throw-in for the Maroons. They get it inside. And the ball is knocked out of bounds. This time it'll be Vikings ball as Jason Gonzalez will throw it in. Gets deeper inside the Maroons territory. A little back and forth going on between both teams now as the Maroons look to punch it inside the Vikings zone. Unable to do so, however, as the Vikings continue the pressure. Not a lot of gaps out there between these players as the Vikings are in tight on the Maroons players and not a lot of room to work with. And now the Vikings will push it ahead to Kazona along the near sideline. Ball taken away, however, and that's pushed on towards net by Ryman into the hands of Bonin. Now Scott Lick has it. Punches it ahead. Trying to feed Lopez. Lopez kicks it forward. And you're going to get it offsides there. Now throw in for the Vikings and Robeson. Just about near midfield is his throwing attempt. Get some good air on this one. Well, that's headed forward by the Maroons, and Lopez takes it. Trying to feed it over to Capitosto. And now Nate Johnson has it for the Maroons. Zhao. Feeding it over to Scott Lick, but the ball rolled out of bounds. Pass attempt did not make it there. And Robeson will throw in for the Vikings. Headed forward by Raymond. I made up a word there, headed. Disregard that word. All right, now the ball at midfield. Here come the Maroons, getting pressured from behind, but carrying forward. Gary Zhao. Zhao spinning around. He stops, gets it to Lopez, trying to give and go. Didn't work there as Gonzalez was able to get in the way of things. And now Matthew Coe. Matthew Coe working along the box. Gets it towards the far side. Chipping it ahead, ball stolen away and punched up to midfield. Maroons look to keep it in, they do. Comes Scott Lick, chipping it towards the box. Headed towards the net, but it's going to roll wide. So finally the Maroons getting some offensive opportunity there and able to generate something. But that time the ball rolled wide right of goal, left of goalkeeper Stulen. And now he'll have the goalkeeper's kick with 26:02 to play in the second half. And the North Park Vikings leading by a score of 1-0. Big boot there by Stulen goes to midfield, headed deeper into Maroons territory. Trying to flag it down, but unable to get there on time was Eric Lundeen. No, check that. That's Sherrill Corey, number 34. But Robeson will take it. He'll have a throw-in in front of his own bench along the near side, looking for an outlet, trying to get it to Corey, then to Kazona. Corey will kick it. Gets deflected into the air and over the goal line, but it's going to be Maroons ball and the goal kick coming from Bonin. All right, now Bonin's kick on its way. Low line drive. It's a little distance, headed deeper into the zone by the Maroons. They'll battle, and player knocked down from behind. Looks like it'll be a foul against the Maroons. And the Vikings will take possession just inside their zone. Looking for the restart. Now Jason Gonzalez, far sideline. He'll chip it ahead going towards the far corner. And that's headed out of danger by the Maroons, but it'll be a throw-in for the Vikings along the far side. Gonzalez will take the throw-in. Inside along the far sideline. Maroons steal. Look to chip it ahead, but Robeson's there, and he knocks it deeper inside Maroons territory. That's going to have to be played by Coe. And now booted high up in the air. Let's see if it stays in. It does. Knocked down nicely by Abedian, and now Lopez. Spin move at midfield. Eluding a defender. Now Scott Lick punching it ahead, trying to get it to Coe. Robeson's there to intercept. Now Kazuna. Kazuna pushes it ahead to the far side, chipping it inside the box, headed out of danger. Good defensive play there by the Maroons as the Vikings were lurking inside the offensive zone. Now Gonzalez steals along the far side. He's going to punch it closer inside the box, gets knocked up towards the midfield, but knocked back in by the Vikings. And they'll push it back towards the far corner. Now we'll have a battle of headers going on here, and then finally whistled down were the Vikings. So we'll have a restart for the Maroons. Getting ready to check back into the game along the near sidelines is Renato Corgi. Probably be coming back in for Gary Zhao here momentarily. Oh, Robeson slipped down there. Check that, number 20. It's Kemkers who slipped. Try to clear that ball. The ball on the far side. Substitution will take place now. Corgi coming in. Well, Corgi coming back in and coming out. Is Abedian. So Andre Abedian coming out for the substitution, not Zhao. Maroons have the ball in the far corner. Trying to chip it ahead inside to Corgi. Corgi slips, maintains possession, however. Will push it to Scott Lick along the far, near sideline. Spin move inside, chips it in, trying to feed it into the box, headed out of danger by the Vikings. Lick gets it back. Coe, stop along the near side, battling. He'll drop it back to Ryman. Ryman will drop it back deeper inside to Maroons territory. And they'll look to establish along the far side, over midfield now. As the Maroons look to push it deeper inside the zone, but Gonzalez was there to push it up to midfield for the Vikings. And a Viking player knocked down from behind. This will be a Vikings ball right at midfield. A little cooler out there right now, but still a nice night for mid-October. No rain, decent breeze. It's a little cool, but good playing conditions for both teams here on the turf field. Vikings coming inside the box, and Bonin coming out to cut off that ball inside the box before any damage can occur from the Vikings. So that was a much-needed attempt there by Bonin to prevent a shot opportunity for the Vikings. Now Bonin's going to give it a boot. A little more on the line drive here. Goes up to midfield, knocked down by the Vikings. Maroons looking to punch it in along the far sideline. Vikings kick it right back. Just unable to generate any sustained attack, have the Maroons. So they're going to look to try and get something generated here. As Lopez pushed down, and a foul called. Foul called on the Vikings. And that was Matthias Warp, the only goal scorer in today's game, called with the push from behind. Matthew Coe will have the restart along the near sideline now. Kick, into the back of Casano. Now ball generated into the near corner. I don't know if that was planned, but went off of Casano. Now Coe gets it inside the zone. Over to Holquist. Holquist makes a move, gets it to Coe. Coe chipping it towards the box. Header over the back, over the wide left of goalkeeper Stulin. Good chance there, however, for the Maroons as they were able to get something generated and get an attempt off. Wasn't necessarily grade A, but at this point they just need to get stuff directed towards the net. They need to get some sustained pressure on goaltender Stuhlin, who's had it pretty easy for the most part for half of this game, the latter half. Ball on midfield now. Cusano and Lick battling. Throw in now for the Maroons. They'll knock it down and push it ahead. Coe has it. Matthew Coe. Ball taken away. Cusano has it for the Vikings. Now it's pushed ahead. Here come the Vikings the other way. Ryman will intercept that ball and he'll let it roll over the goal line. And this will be a goal kick now for the Maroons. 18:20 to play here in the second half. And the North Park University Vikings are up 1-0 over the University of Chicago Maroons men's soccer team. Still time for the Maroons, obviously, to get the equalizer, but they're going to have to continue to press, and they'll probably have to open things up a little bit more as we go along, and that might create some opportunities here for the Vikings. But, first things first, the Maroons need to get inside the zone and get their offense organized and orchestrate and execute. Ball knocked out of bounds along the far side. This will be a Vikings ball, as Jason Gonzalez will have the throw in. That's headed up along the far sideline, taken back by the Maroons. Stolen away by the Vikings as they continue to press along the far side. Ball knocked out of bounds by the Maroons. This will be a throw in for the Vikings, as getting ready to check in for the Maroons is Tommy Tenuta. And we're also going to have a substitution here shortly for the Vikings, as taking off his jersey is Henrik Roseholt. So Roseholt and Tenuta for the Vikings and Maroons respectively, waiting to come in for the next substitution. Now here's Robeson and the Vikings getting it over to Cusona. Cusona taken away by the Maroons. Trying to get it to Coe. That was intercepted, however, by the Vikings, and they'll continue to press. Trying to get it in. Bonin is going to get there first. He rolls on the ball, almost lost it, but was able to scoop that up. Nice play there by the Vikings, Gustav Eriksson. And now Lick will take the ball up along the far sideline. Boots it ahead, taking him back by Pimentel and the Vikings. Now the Maroons looking to get the ball outside of their own zone, unable to, at least at this go-around, as Gonzalez has it at midfield. Tries to punch it deeper in, finds Cusona. His header attempt fanned on it somewhat. Maroons come down with it, and they'll look to punch it upfield. Vikings continue to keep the ball in, however. And now the ball along the far sideline. Gonzalez knocks Maroons player down from behind. This will be a restart for the Maroons right around midfield. 15-16 to play here in the second half. 1-0 North Park. As Zhao will take the ball, tip it towards the box. Knocked out of there by Robeson and the Vikings. Scott Lick will track it down along the near side. Spin move. Gets it back to Stacy Ryman. Now Scott Lick near side in front of the bench. Pass over to Coe. Coe. He's going to move the ball inside the zone. He's got a man in front of him. Tried to feed it through. And Gonzalez with a nice play. The slide and prevent that pass. And now Lick preventing a pass attempt there. Now Nate Johnson will flip it to the far side. And here comes Corgi getting it over to the near sideline. Ball knocked down but rolls out of bounds before Zhao could keep it in for the Maroons. This will be a throw in for the Vikings and Robeson. And now taking a seat and getting a breather here is Matthew Coe. .14 to play, 1-0 North Park. On the strength of an early second half goal from Mabias Warp. Vikings fans calling for a foul there, none forthcoming. Now Kazona has it crossing. And it goes all the way over to the far side. See if they can keep it in. They do. They'll chip it back to Gonzalez, who will push it to the far corner. Keeping it in at the goal line. No, unable to. Good attempt, however, but unable to keep it in. Substitution coming in now for the Vikings. As checking in will be Chase Leonards. And checking out will be number 10, Kazona. So Kazona taking a seat and getting a breather here for the Vikings. Ball on the far side, pushed down from behind. No call there. Now there is a call. Late whistle. As one was not called there, but then the whistle eventually blew as Tenuta was pushed down from behind. So Capitosto now will take the free kick here. The Maroons get set up on the wall along the box. Capitosto waiting for the whistle to restart here. All right, now. Now we're taking a lot of time here to get that whistle going. Now, hang on here. Add 30. All right, so referee adding 30 seconds on the clock there. A little confusion over whether or not the clock should have been stopped. Up here in the booth, we were not given the signal. However, on the field, they seem to think that that should have been the case and should have been the case, but did not forthcome there. So finally, we have that resolved. 12:30 left in the second half. Now Capitosto waiting for the kick, free kick to restart here. All right, underway. Here's the kick, circling. Headed towards the net and making a save. A tremendous save there, Matthias Stulin. As that was headed right over. He was able to reach up and knock that ball out of the way as it was just below the crossbar. A huge save there. Best save of the day so far for Stulin and the Vikings. And they keep their 1-0 lead. That is tremendous. All right, now we're going to have corner kick action. Capitoso will take the corner kick from the near corner. Line drive in towards the box, and that rolls just wide, but over the goal line and out. And this will be Vikings ball with the goalkeeper's kick. So a great opportunity there for the Maroons, but unable to convert because of the tremendous save made by Stulin on that header coming off the free kick. Now the ball crosses over midfield, headed deeper inside Maroon territory. They'll chip it up back towards center, headed back down by the Vikings. Now the Vikings look to generate offense along the far sideline. Alvaro is in the box there. Keep an eye on him. Maroons look to punch it the other way. Vikings keep the ball in. Gonzalez knocked down as he kept that ball in. He's been all over the place here for the Vikings. Another solid defender. Great defense here for the Vikings. Good pair for North Park as they get set to restart here with 10:32 to play in the second half. Vikings clinging to a 1-0 lead. Booted towards the box, headed out by the Maroons, but that's going to be kept in by the Vikings. They'll chip it towards net, and Bonin will play it. Looking for an outlet. He's going to give it the free kick. Headed down over the head of Lopez. Oh! Knocked down here. They're going to call it against the Maroons. Vikings will take the ball on the restart. .9:48 to play here in the second half. And Pimento will push it down for the Vikings, trying to feed it into Alvaro. Alvaro now has it along the near side. And we got another Vikings player knocked down, so we're going to get another foul against the Maroons. We're going to get a free kick here going for the Vikings. Now getting ready to take the kick for the Vikings. Bias Warp. Again, he is the lone goal scorer for today's match, as he got that early second half goal to get things started for the Vikings. And now he'll have the free kick going on right now. Angling it, oh, off the post of the field goal. Wow. That thing swung around and it was almost like a boomerang. Eventually sailed over the net and hit the post of the field goal post and ricocheted off. So field goal, no good. All right, ball booted up to midfield now. Vikings will look to track it down and punch it back inside Maroons territory. You're going to see a lot of this now in the final minutes. Just some time-eating plays going to be taking place by the Vikings. Maintain possession and, extend the gaps a little bit here. Now ball headed out of bounds. This will be a throw-in for the Maroons. Okay. Nope, for the Vikings and Robeson. Robeson gets the ball in play. Trying to get it down to Alvaro. Punched ahead by Tenuta and the Maroons. Maroons look to go the other way. Kick back out of bounds. On the kick there by Roseholt. Enric Roseholt. Now ball rolls out of bounds. Abedian throwing it in. Push from behind. Pimentel knocked the player down, and we do have a yellow card on Pimentel as knocked down from behind. Let's see who that is. Not getting up right now. And it looks like Matthew Coe grabbing the back of his head there and his neck. So he was knocked down from behind. Yellow card on Pimentel. And now we're going to have the free kick here for the Maroons, as Capitosto will take it along the near sideline. Coe still grabbing the back of his neck, feeling the effects of that foul. Now let's see if he's lying in the weeds right now, though. Crossing into the box, headed out of danger by the Vikings. Now Nate Johnson tries to head it back towards the far corner. Maroons keep it inside the zone. Four-player battle ensues. Maroons trying to come out with it. They do. Going towards the far corner. Now on the far side. Maroons continuing to keep it inside the zone. Shot towards the net, right into the hands of Stulin. And he'll take it with 6:57 remaining in the second half. his team holding a 1-0 advantage. And now the punt on its way from Stulin's going to go all the way towards the near corner. And it'll be a throw in for the Vikings. Vikings throwing along the near side as Robeson will come down to take the throw in for North Park. Robeson's throwing, going towards the box, headed back upfield. Gary Zhao will try and chip it ahead. Vikings keep it back inside the zone. And Lick tries to head it towards the goal. He gets it there with Alvaro closing in, however, so he had to grab that play and clean that up. Now, whoa, another big collision there on the header attempt with Tenuta. Now we got some pushing and shoving going on. Things are getting a little testy out on the field, and a yellow card given now to Abedian. So things getting a little testy out here on the field. Stag Field with 5:49 remaining. The Maroons getting a little frustrated. However, they will have the ball here on the foul from the Vikings. Kick on its way, chipping it towards the box, and it angling towards the far corner, and it'll roll out of bounds. And it's going to be Vikings ball. Ball not given to the hands of the goalkeeper there, so somewhat a little gamesmanship there by the Maroons, but that's okay. Ball pushed up to midfield, headed back inside the zone by the Maroons. Now they're going to track the ball down along the far side. Pushing ahead is Tenuta, trying to get that ball, as well as Lopez. Vikings kick it up to midfield. Headed back inside the Viking zone, but it angled out of bounds, and this will be a throw-in for the Vikings and Robeson. Robeson with the big hurl downfield, trying to get it to Kazuna. Gets it there. Ryman battling with Kazuna. And now kept inside the zone by the Vikings. Oh, knocked down from behind. No call there. Lopez battling at midfield. Vikings take the ball away, but the ball rolls off the foot of Warp. And now it's going to be throw-in for Robeson. Robeson's throw-in going towards Kazuna, headed up by Ryman. And now along the near side, Robeson will chip it further towards the box, headed back up again by the Maroons. Unable to convert that time, however, and now they're going to push it over to the far corner. 3:56 remaining. Vikings slip, and now the Maroons will take it the other way. Pushing it upfield, but it rolls out of bounds. Oh, and a player down. A player down with 3:44 remaining. The clock has stopped, as we do have an injured Viking along the far side there. Looks like it's more of a cramp type thing, I'm imagining, as the official is helping the player stretch out his leg there. Now the training staff will come on and take a look at the Vikings player. 3:44 to play. The Vikings of North Park holding on to a 1-0 lead. We were scoreless at the end of one. The Maroons only had one shot, however, in that first half. They've upped the total a little bit here in the second half, but still not a strong offensive showing today for the Maroons. Now, they do have 7 shots total now and 3 shots on goal. The Vikings have 10 shots with 3 shots on goal, and obviously they have the 1-goal lead. All right. Coming out of the game now for the Vikings. I think that's Metkowski coming out, number 26, I believe. Now the ball booted by the Maroons, trying to get it deep inside Vikings territory, but they'll knock it out of bounds along the far sideline. And that was number 20, I should say, for the Vikings. And that would be Kemkers. Ball out of bounds, rolls past the Maroons, so this will be another throw-in for Robeson with 3:09 remaining in the half in the game. Robeson's throw gets a good heave on it, trying to feed it to Kazona. And Maroons battling at midfield, trying to punch it in deeper. Tenuta feeding it ahead. Obedient in there, along with Gonzalez. And now it's booted out of bounds. And we'll have a throw-in along the far corner. Coe into Tenuta. Back to Coe. Coe trying to feed it to Tenuta, intercepted by the Vikings, and they'll kick it all the way down the near sideline. Scott Lick will track that down for the Maroons. He'll kick it to goalkeeper Bonin. 2:26 remaining. Things are going to have to speed up now for the Maroons as they'll try and punch it down. Headed back up by the Vikings. Coe to Ryman. Inside to Zhao, over to Lopez. Lopez trying to feed it to Obedient, back to Lopez. And we're going to get a foul called against the Maroons. And we'll have the restart for the Vikings. Time ticking down now against the Maroons as there's a minute 48 remaining on the clock here in the game. Booted along the far side. Now we're going to have a throw in by the Maroons. Punched ahead, trying to feed Zhao. Lopez knocks it down, headed back by the Vikings. Now Alvaro and Lopez battle, and now the ball's booted further inside the zone. Ryman will get it into goalkeeper Bonin, who will look for the drop kick, gets it to midfield. And it'll be taken by Lopez. Lopez booting it forward. Zhao was in the vicinity. Ball comes down. Maroons still have it. Lopez knocked from behind by Alvaro. He'll get the cross over to Capitosto. Vikings look to go the other way now. Kazona. Maroons push it ahead, but here come the Vikings back. They'll take the ball at midfield and push it down the far side. Alvaro trying to track it down. He'll meet up with Ryman. And now the Maroons trying to get it to Tenuta. Taken back by the Vikings. Alvaro again. And knocked out of bounds by Scott Lick. This will be a throw-in for North Park with 30 seconds remaining. And they'll take their time getting this ball in. They'll push it towards the near corner to Kazona. He's doing a good job keeping the ball in the air, knocking some time off the clock. Then it rolls over the goal line as time's going to run away here. Now they stop the clock. As Bonin. And now Lopez is going to take the kick here. Lopez
10, 9,
boots it up to midfield.
6,
Inside the Viking zone. Knocked over to the far sideline. It's going to roll out of bounds. And that's your ball game. The North Park University Vikings come in and shut out the host Maroons by a score of 1-0. We were scoreless in the end of the first half, but in the early going in the second half, Mabias Warp was able to chip in pass attempt off the free kick and able to get the Vikings on the board, and that was the only goal they needed as they win this game by a score of 1-0. Total shots for the game, 10 for the Vikings, 8 for the Maroons. 3 shots on goal apiece, but where it matters in the big board, 1 goal for North Park as they come away with the victory here, and they improve their record to 12-1-1 on the season. The Maroons now fall to 13-2 on the season, and they'll look to regroup next time out. Well, your final score again from Stagg Field, the North Park University Vikings 1, University of Chicago Maroons nothing. You've been watching Maroons men's soccer right here on the Maroon Sports Network. For Sean Jarrett on camera, Dan Obie producing and directing. I'm Eric Willowhite saying so long. Thanks for joining us, and see you next time on the Maroon Sports Network.